Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. It's Lycan Warlord. The Stash. Hello, everyone. I love you. Hope you're doing well. Let's try and quickly go over this monstrosity of a meta that they've produced for us. I'm going to put a chapter in. Once I'm done with my rant, and I promise we'll go over a build that was in my Discord and how the hell to make Salmon Nigiri. First of all, I love Salmon Nigiri. I love most types of nigiri. It's a fantastic choice. Let's begin by saying we asked for sushi, not nigiri. They are different. For those of you that don't know, sushi's a roll. Nigiri is the rice with the fish or seafood on top of it. So that's the first thing. I want to go ahead and also preface this all by saying we've been asking for fishing in some way, shape, or form since Galaverse Las Vegas at the very latest. We've been asking most likely for it earlier. I can't go into Discord and show you when, but just trust me, we've been asking for this. So you go, oh, thank the Townstar gods, they've listened. Have they listened? Have they really listened? Let's just dig into this ridiculous farce of a meta that they've created. But let's not forget, there's FTs to buy. Now, for those of you that may have seen it, we can now fish. We can now make nigiri. Still can't make spoiled milk, though. I wonder when the spoiled milk update's coming. I'm going to click on an empty spot right here, and I'm going to show you this brand new atrocity of a tab called fishing. Now, again, mind you, this game is so broken that they had to make a brand new version, but yet they're still investing all of this time and effort into adding things in the game instead of fixing and... I'm sorry, they can't fix this version. Working on the new version that we've been promised since, what, January it was supposed to be live, but now we're in April. Interesting how that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new things in this one particular tab. All of this added in, again, while they're supposed to be, we're working on Townstar 2.0. Just want to throw that out there for you, by the way. Now, in case you're wondering, you have to have an aquaculturist house, a fisherman house, a seafood warehouse, a mixing tent, a sushi restaurant, a seaweed farmhouse. All of this just to make the nigiri, okay? And that is the only item that the sushi restaurant actually makes right now is the salmon nigiri, which is fine. It's kind of a middle-of-the-road, bland fish. Tuna nigiri would have made way more sense because tuna is a more popular fish, in my opinion. But what do I know? You got to have a shrimp farm. You have to have a seaweed farm. You have wild net fishing, and you also have fishing platforms. We'll talk about all that in a second. Also, we also have in the farm tab, you now have a rice field. Now, I get why they didn't put it in the fishing, because it's not technically fishing, but it is the thing that they added in here for fishing. Now, why am I complaining about all this? Well, let's talk about it for a second, right? Why did we ask for fishing? We asked for fishing because if you look at this map, literally, the whole thing is surrounded by water. There's water everywhere. Majority of it's ocean, which most of you know is useless in this game. That's why they added in these ridiculous farces. I'm on a farce kick today. I mean, look at this river they added in here, and they added in here, and they added this random... Look at this. Look at this. They said we asked for rivers, so they put rivers right here. What good is that river going to do when it's 4 days away from the nearest town? It's also in a forest or a plains with nobody wants. They want deserts with river. Oh, you're right. No, they gave us, 3 more tiles with desert river? I mean, come on, man. There's so much salt around here. Look at it. And not just from me, by the way. There's salt in this game. Look at all these squares that have a water edge, in particular an ocean edge. That's why we asked for fishing. Why? To make use of all of those spots. So what did they do? They said, oh no, don't worry. We'll put something in here that you don't need to have a water edge to fish. What sense does that make? How does that solve the problem? The whole point of the fishing is that the majority of the map has water. Let us use the water. Now you say, okay, well that makes sense if they're landlocked. Okay, fine. Then why does this, the one that's on the water, take longer to harvest than the one that's in the pond? Well, you say, well, of course, Lycan, if it's just a pond, then the fish are easier to capture. Then why? What? How does that make any sense? All I gotta do is put a couple nukes over here and that's taken care of. Oh, but I'm not gonna put a nuke. Did I mention that Townstar Townstar's got an FT for sale. In case you guys were wondering, oh, we got a new FT for sale. In case you guys were wondering, go figure. An FT that has passive energy, but with no dirtiness. That's insane. What are the odds that they would release this right when there's a new meta they created that could absolutely positively use this? That is just so. What are the odds there? Do you understand now? Do you get it? If you haven't gotten it before, do you get it? They are literally just creating things and adding things in the game so that they can sell more FTs. That is literally it. They're not using creativity. They are not thinking logically. That's why they put freaking wizard towers and Santa Claus in Townstar, because they are trying to sell FTs. And the sad part about all of it is they shouldn't be trying to sell FTs. They should be focused on their new Townstar 2.0 that's going to save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Save the world. Right? Okay. So back again to talk about how stupid it is that the one thing using the actual water resource that's everywhere on the map takes longer to craft than the one that's in the pond. They also require energy and fish chum. Now, I don't know if you know much about fishing, but I'll go ahead and show you what Google says in case you were unfamiliar with how salmon are caught. They're caught in nets. There is no chum. They catch them in nets. There is no chum. So even if they were in a pond, you would still use a net, not chum. So they created chum so that you have to have all this extra crap to make your salmon nigiri. You have to have a seaweed farm. You need seaweed to go put it in the shrimp farm that the shrimp would eat. Then you got to have rice for the nigiri, of course. And the seaweed also goes all the way up here to get chum made. Look at that. You need seaweed and shrimp to make chum. So you got to have seaweed to make your chum to fish offshore, but you also need seaweed to feed the shrimp. So you need the seaweed to make the shrimp. You need the shrimp and the seaweed to make the chum. You need the chum to get the salmon, so the salmon you can make the nigiri. Are you following me now? Are you following how crazy this is? Makes no fucking sense. This is unnecessary. I wanted to be so happy for this fishing, but it's not. It's just another BS meta they've created so they can sell more FTs. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop being negative here, and let's begin being informative. All right, here's a flow chart. I'm going to try and link this down below in the description, but it's also going to be in my Discord if you guys want to find it. Basically, here's the flow chart for how to make nigiri. Okay, you need a seaweed farm. With salty, it's 10 seconds. Without salty, it's 40 seconds, and only needs 2 water. So that's actually not that bad. If you think about doing this without a river or an ocean, you would get the ocean saltiness, which would be good, but then that would also hurt all your other crops. So 40 seconds isn't terrible, and we'll look at a build later. You'll be able to see. Seaweed goes in the silo, okay? Shrimp farm is the little, looks like a green pond. That is 20 seconds, and it needs 2 seaweed. So seaweed's the base of this entire build. You're going to want to be pumping out seaweed like crazy, and your farmers are going to be the ones that harvest it because it's going in the silo. Then you have your rice field, which produces rice husks. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. The seaweed farm is not. The seaweed farm is produced by a seaweed worker. So, excuse me. You're going to have a seaweed worker only focused on the seaweed farm. Then you got your rice field producing rice husk, which is for the white rice. Now, that's going to be the least important thing. You're not going to need that much of it because you only need 2 rice to build your nigiri. And there's 20 seconds on the rice field, but they need 8 water, just like you remember sugarcane used to need 8 water, okay? Rice field, the rice husk also goes in the silo. So, you following so far? You got to have seaweed, a shrimp farm, and rice fields. Now, rice field is at the bottom, not terribly important, okay? Seaweed goes into either the shrimp farm or it goes into the mixing building to make the chum. Now, what is the chum for? The chum is for the 2 fishing platforms to harvest salmon. So you got to have chum to fish for salmon, which is also factually incorrect. So seaweed's the base. Seaweed feeds the shrimp. Seaweed feeds the chum. Chum feeds the fish. Once you're feeding fish, then the fish go into the warehouse. And from there, excuse me, no, that's not correct. There's a fishing warehouse. We'll go over it in a second with the map so you can see. The salmon go into the seafood warehouse, and in the seafood warehouse holds the chum, the salmon, and the shrimp. So you're going to want to have a bunch of those because they only store 20, and you're going to make sure you have enough in case you need to sell overages, right? So all you need to make nigiri, salmon nigiri, is one rice. One white rice. Excuse me, I messed that up. One white rice, one salmon, 3 energy in 30 seconds. So the rice husk, which comes from the rice field, goes to the silo. From the silo, you're going to have a mixing building that makes white rice. So you're mostly going to have mixing buildings doing chum. You're going to have a couple other ones doing the white rice, which is the rice that you would see in a sushi or nigiri. Okay? All right. You got all that? It's just ridiculous. All right. Now, let's look at the map. Okay. So here you go. We got our seaweed farm right here. Looks kind of like a wine rack. I have right now, currently, I have the Haunted Maze Zone 3, which is giving me the passive saltiness I need to make this a 10-second. Okay? So right now, I'm getting all the saltiness I need from that. Notice I've got a river. You can do river if you want. You can do ocean if you want. But, I mean, you don't need the ocean, to be fair. But, you can. You can do it. Again, the seaweed doesn't need that much water, so that's the good thing, right? Your seaweed gets harvested by this guy right here. Notice this guy walking right there. That is your seaweed farmer. Notice the seaweed farmer house. Now, you might ask yourself, how much does a seaweed farmer cost, Lycan? Well, let me tell you. A seaweed farmer costs $75,000. So none of these items are going to be built early on. You're still going to have to do your rush, get your cash up, and then maybe start building this if you want. Mixing tent. I'm going to ask you a question. If sushi is a Japanese thing, what the hell is this guy doing? This guy's like Moroccan? How does that make any sense? How is he the one making fish chum and rice? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What are they doing? Like, that's a fisherman. Sure, guy's got a nice mustache. Aquaculturist? You realize they created all of these just to make it more complex. But just adding stuff in doesn't make it more difficult. It just makes it more annoying, in my opinion. But here we go. Here's the seafood warehouse I spoke about. There's our seaweed farm, and then our 2 fishing platforms. Okay? So notice, the fishing platform that's not on the open water needs 25 water. It needs 25 water to be built, 5 lumber, and 5 oak. So a lot of these need oak to be built. That's something to keep in mind. And then this needs 20 oak, 10 wood, and 5 lumber. So you're going to want to get all your lumbers, your all that going. You're going to keep oak running. So you can see I still have oak in my build right now as I'm just playing around. But let's go ahead again and look at this. It needs 2 fish chum and 8 energy to create the salmon. Okay? So the build you're going to see in a second, they put a bunch of nuclear power plants, and that solves your 8 energy. You know, why does this harvest in 27 seconds when this harvests, the one that's in the water, which was the whole purpose of fishing, is 162 seconds? Call me crazy. How does that make any sense? You're right. It doesn't make any sense. Moreover, we've got animations leaving the side of the map and going out and doing something. How hard would it have been for Gala to put a little, make this an actual pier where a little boat goes out and then 20 seconds later comes back with fish? They could have made a trolling boat. Again, this is a trolling boat. They could have literally drawn that. They could have made this. They could have made it this, but they didn't, because this is all rushed, lazy bullshit. Okay? We've been asking for this for a year and a half. I gotta keep reminding you that. This is what they've given you after a year and a half of hard work. Okay? Just remember that. Now, here's the build we're going to look at real quick. Okay? You see they got a bunch of open world. This is on the desert. There's a bunch of nuclear power plants. All these green ponds are the shrimp ponds, okay? So you need the shrimp so that you can make the chum. And that's what these red top buildings are. All these red top buildings are chum, okay? This is the fisherman, I believe. Yes, that's the fisherman. And this was a build, I believe this is supposedly Miles' build. Notice there's empty spaces over here, which you would never have empty spaces in a correct build. And notice the seaweed doesn't need much water. So that's one thing, again, to keep in mind, is it doesn't need that much water. So that's a positive, that it only needs 2 water. So notice this one pond is providing everything it needs. How much does the shrimp pond need? Let's look. The shrimp farm needs 20 seconds, 2 seaweed. So it doesn't need any water. The rice field needs the water. Okay. So let's go back to the build here. Again, I'll have both of these in the Discord, but I'll try and link them down below in the video description. So there you go. That's it. You got some silos. Let's look at it on my map here. This curved building is the seaweed farmer. So this is the one going to get all the seaweed. You're going to need a lot of them. The sushi restaurant is this. It's got chopsticks on the top right here. So if we look at this build, how many sushi restaurants they've got? 1, 2, 3. They've got 3 sushi restaurants in here. So not that many. So you won't need too many of those. Realistically, this is what you got to focus on. Okay, got to have a bunch of seaweed. Some of the seaweed's going to feed the shrimp farm. Some of the seaweed's going to go make chum. You need rice to go make white rice. They go straight to the sushi restaurant. You're basically going to be limited by the amount of salmon you can make. So that's really what's going to hold you back. You can go with the 1 chum 4 energy 180 seconds wild net, or you can put some freaking nuclear power plants or regular power plants down and do regular one off the side. So people that can do math told me you're better off using the regular fishing platform, not the wild net. So we're going to use that as the goal here. Again, looking at this build, this is all the wild net ones. Okay. Now, in my opinion, I would have put a road this way. I would treat this just like iron mines. I would treat this just like iron mines. Use your same build out for your nuclear plants or your power plants like you would an iron mine. That's what I would do. Take that for what you will. So I wouldn't have, you need to make it easier for them to walk there. Now the other thing of contention is, well, they just need energy. So if they just need energy, they just need energy batteries. So if you do desert, you could have infinite batteries for them to go run and feed it. And then again, you're just being limited by the amount of salmon you have. All right. Is that enough? Have I harassed you enough with my verbiage? Huh? Is that it? I'll be going live. I'm trying to get this thing uploaded super quickly. Again, quick recap before we go. This is Seaweed Farm. This is Shrimp Farm. This is the rice field. This is the wild net fishing, which is for a water edge. This is the fishing platform, which is what you're probably going to want to use. The building with the rocks is the fisherman house. So that's going to be for the fishing platforms. You've also got your seafood warehouse, which is storing our salmon, right? My salmon is not selling, so let's try and sell that real quick. Why is my salmon not selling? Go, gadget. Yeah, salmon wasn't selling. Go figure. Okay. Now, the one thing of note that I want to talk about quick before I forget, that's not on this diagram. To make this seafood warehouse, you need to have 5 ice blocks. How do we make ice blocks? We need a Santa's factory to produce cold. So I have 2 of them because it needs 3 cold. Okay. If I come here to make an ice block, you see it's 3 cold and 2 water drums. So realistically, you can put multiple water pumps here to get that same effect. If not, live la vida loca, as they say. But yeah, you're going to need 5 cold blocks. So one thing you're going to want to do when you're doing your build is when you're ready to start doing this, put your seafood warehouses in first, and then you can get rid of all the ice blocks. Or keep it until you're done. That way they're just making cash for you. All right. Fisherman house for your fish. Seafood farmer house for your seafood. Aquaculturist house for your shrimp, because that makes sense. You've got your mixing tent making white rice, or your mixing tent making fish chum, and then you've got your sushi restaurant making salmon nigiri. All right? So, that's it. If you got any questions, leave them down below. Again, I'm going to try and put these 2 links to those images in the description down below. I will be going live when the competition starts. I love you all. Take care. Good luck. I'm liking Warlord. The stash. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. You made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I want to shout out my Patreons from Patreon, and my new YouTube members as well. I got that going. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so very much. Your help has been crucial to keeping me alive and keep streaming and keep helping and hopefully entertaining you along the way. Anything I can do to make it more worth your while, please let me know down below. Also, you can find me on my Discord. I have my Discord server link down below, Patreon links down below, and then membership should be somewhere around here. Thank you all so very, very much. I really appreciate you. And I look forward to the future, and I hope you will come along for this journey with me. Thank you. Take care.